This may look like your regular family sedan, but after 5 months of ownership, I can tell you that it is much more than your daily grocery getter. So in this video, I will be telling you the pros and the cons, what it's like to own one of these, how practical it is for daily life, and the cost for you to get one yourself. So before we get into the video, I just want to quickly tell you guys the main reasons why I am actually posting these videos and making this channel. With the channel being relatively new, I kind of want to, first of all, just show everyone my progress behind this, and also because I found that there wasn't much content on this car online, and I want to bridge that gap so that a lot more new enthusiasts like me who have these cars can able to have someone who can help them or sort of guide them on the internet. And I can't tell you my second reason where I didn't actually buy this car myself. I contributed like a bit and my dad paid the rest, so technically the car is his, and in his eyes this car is more of a quick cash flip to keep this for the short term. But in my eyes, I can see that these models and this trim especially is getting rarer by the day, and in the future it's not going to be as easy to come by these, and I really want to keep this long term. So I'll appreciate it if you guys really show your support. If you do enjoy my content, please subscribe. Also, please leave some comments. It's kind of dry in the comment section right now, and let me know what I can improve on for my future videos. And yeah, let's get into it. So a little bit about this car. This is my 2007 Honda Accord Euro. It's the CL9 chassis specifically, and this trim, as you can probably already tell from the front bumper, this is the sport trim or limited edition, depending on how you want to call it. Now, I'm not too sure if they released this around the rest of the world, but in Australia, we had this specific trim. And yeah, you can see already, you have the different front grille. You got these front skirts as well. Just makes the car looks a bit more aggressive compared to the base model and the luxury ones. And if we move around to the side here, you can also see that the rims are much different. And they actually, I think, look like the DC5 Type R rims, which is another great touch for Honda. And then coming in towards the interior, we have typical red dash like the Euro R, and we got these mix of leather and Alcantara seats. And then of course, coming back around, you can see you got the sport body kit all around with the side skirts. Moving back, you got the rear skirt as well, just making the car look overall a bit more aggressive. And what I did notice as well is that the exhaust system here sounds pretty nice for a stock exhaust system. So that's another touch. Now, why is this trim so good and highly desired in my opinion? Well, to be honest, personally, I think that this is about as close you can get to Euro R without having to pay Euro R money. And of course, if you go online and do the comparisons, you can see that this is actually looking the exact same as a Euro R. So yeah, that's why these body kits and these exterior panels tend to go for a lot, especially here in Australia. A lot of people specifically buy out these cars just to part out these specific parts and sell them at ridiculous prices because they know people want them, which is why it's another reason good for me to keep this car, because now I can make another OEM plus build with this, and I don't have to worry about looking like a shitty base model because I already have all these stuff that kind of makes it look like a Euro R. So yeah. So another reason why this car is so desirable to own is what's under the hood. Now, if I pop the bonnet and you guys see under the hood, we have Honda's infamous K24 engine. Now, this specific engine from just Accords in general for the CL9 is the K24A3. Now, I think for the CL7, you will have the K20 that is found in the Euro R. But essentially, the K24 is, I think it produces 140 kilowatts or 188 horsepower. Now, that may not seem a lot, but as you all may know already, these small engines paired with the lightweight of the car, I think roughly 1.3 to 1.4 tons, depending on the kind of options that you put around the car here and there, it makes the car a blast to drive. And with the K24 as well, unlike the K20, which can, I think, redline higher, the K24 focuses more on the torque. So at low end torque, it's a blast to drive. You'll find yourself launching off a traffic light and beating everyone else. And also during this era, this engine specifically was paired with either a 6-speed manual or a 5-speed automatic. Now, unfortunately, mine is the 5-speed automatic because I could not find the 6-speed manual. I think another major issue with this engine is also just the fact that, you know, as all K24s are known for, they tend to burn oil when they get to higher kilometers. Mine has already started to burn oil, so I do need to occasionally top up and check here and there. And also just the fact that VTEC actually engages at 6,000 RPM. Now that may seem low, but if you're considering the fact that the car redlines at like 7,000 something, that's like not that much VTEC engagement. Now a simple solution to this is you just get a reflash. You can reflash your VTEC down all the way to like 4,000 or 5,000. But yeah, that's what's powering the car underneath. The engine itself as well, super easy to work on. The layout is super simple, doesn't require any complex tools. You can probably get like one toolbox from super cheap and you can work on the car. All right, let's start with the pros of this car. As I said in the intro, of course, the way it looks. I really love this sleek design of the CL generation compared to the one after that, the CU Accords. I really like this one more. I think it's just better. It's a bit thinner. It's not as thick as the CU. And just the overall look looks a bit more aggressive. Now, another positive is, of course, with Honda's reliability and accessibility to work on it however you like. Now, especially with this car, with the K24, you're not going to find any major issues if you constantly service your car on time and do basic proper maintenance. By doing that, this car can last you like up to like 300,000, 400,000 kilometers if you take good care of it. I think another massive positive as well, like I said, with the engine being super reliable, the car is super simple to work on. Now from this era, I think this car was 2007, so it will be probably one of the last cars produced in the so-called golden era of cars where you can still buy them and have fun with them and work on it before cars went all to shit with electronics. So that's another massive positive. I think another one about the exterior and the car itself, mechanical wise, before we move on to interior, is just the suspension. I think this car came with a double wishbone suspension, so it means that turning corners, driving on winding mountain roads is just super fun, super enjoyable. The car feels planted on the ground. And you've combined that with the lightweight and the VTEC, it definitely makes a hell of a quick car. Not as quick as some others, but quick enough for you to have fun. Now, if we move on to the interior, let me open the thing. Now, if you move on to the interior, another massive positive is just how these interiors have held up in the past 20 years of this car being alive. Now, as you can see, my interior is in mint condition, all right? I've bought this car about 6 months ago. So far, I think the only major problem is, if you can see on the driver's side down there, you can see that that right bolster there is kind of going squishy and all smudgy. But other than that, rest of these held up beautifully, very nice. Another massive positive regarding the interior is also the sound system. Now, I'm not sure how many speakers it is. I think it is a 6-speaker sound system. But yeah, from this era, finding one with 6 speakers that doesn't sound like Bluetooth quality is super hard. And I think that is a massive pro for this car as well. And the last thing, it's just the paint. Now, my specific car, of course, it is not I think it wasn't Bayside blue, but it's not the blue variant that everyone likes about the Euro R. It is the Nighthawk black. Now, personally, I like this Nighthawk black a lot better. Why? Because it's not fully black. It actually has blue pearls in it. So under the sun, you can see the blue sparkles, and from certain times of day, the car does look a bit dark blue, which is a really nice color and makes the car just looks a lot more slick. But yeah, that's all the pros. Now we get into negatives. All right, to start off, like I mentioned before with the car specs and stuff, VTEC does engage a bit too late. Like I said, it engages around 6,000 to 6,400, and the car redlines I think 7,000 or something like that. Now the gauge does say 8,000, but that's not happening. Yeah, but you know, it's super simple to get over it. Many Accord Euro owners in this community recommend just getting a simple reflash. So it's relatively simple, relatively cheap if you want earlier engagement in VTEC. Now, another massive con to this car is that it is notorious for its power steering to fail. Now, I think out of the whole thing in the engine bay, everything is super reliable. But the one thing will be the power steering pump. That seems to be the one thing that many Euro owners have claimed to fail over time. Now, mine hasn't failed yet, but I can already hear it whining when I start driving the car, when I first start driving the car. So I think sooner or later it's gonna fail and I'm gonna have to replace it. But yeah. And moving on from the engine bay, another massive con, of course, with any old car from this generation, you have the bumper sag. Yep. Now, I think as you might see from my other videos, the bumper tend to sag really bad. As you can see from this crack and crevice down here, I kind of fixed it, but even then, the bumper tend to sag like really, really bad. Now, of course, it will depend on how the car was taken care of. I think especially in the harsh Australian weather, the extremely hot days in the summer tend to warp the plastic parts around, especially in these thin pillars and corners, as you can see here. And once they warped and suddenly cool down, as you know, it becomes deformed. And once it's deformed, the bumper doesn't sit right. Now, of course, this is for like the majority of cars that are old. But yeah, from one of these cars as well, the bumper's notorious to sag. Now, moving on from the engine bay, another huge issue that is known for this car is the paint fade. Now, the most common places you'll see paint fade will be on the roof, the hood, and the trunk. Now, why does that happen? That happens because during this era of time, Honda paint was known for notoriously for being super thin, and the clear coat, especially under the harsh Australian weather, tend to just give all out and start peeling. And once it starts peeling, the whole thing starts fading, and come on, so you have to repaint the whole thing. Now, I think for those who've watched my painting video, you probably have seen my fade that I have cleaned up. While it's not perfect, it does the job. So that's another massive con for this car. And I think for the last one as well, the massive con will be that this car requires 95 or 98. If you live somewhere else, it just means that this car requires premium fuel. So that is also a massive con, especially if you are tight on cash. And with the current war going on and the fuel crisis, fuel can be pretty expensive. I think for me, a full tank will roughly cost around 120, 130, depending on the gas prices. Before the war, it cost around like 70 or like 80 bucks. So yeah, 95 and 98. This car does require the premium to run. And I think tying back to that as well, the last con would just be that fuel efficient wise, this car is not as good as you expect it to be. For a Honda, of course, this isn't a Jazz. This is much bigger and it takes much more effort and power and fuel to move the car along. So fuel efficiency is not as good as well. Now, if I was to give you the exact numbers on highways, if you're constantly driving on highways, it will be around 7 to 8 liters per 100 kilometers. On normal suburban roads and city driving, it will be up to like 10 to 12 liters per 100 kilometers. So yeah, just take that in mind. And of course, you got the small other stuff that just goes as the car ages, you know, the bushings, you have just small stone chips and rust everywhere. And yeah, that's pretty much all the cons of this car. So it's not a lot, but yeah, you just be aware when you're going to look at one. So in classic redriven style, I will be telling you about the interior practicality. Now, just looking around, overall interior design is fantastic. I think the orientation of everything is just very nice. Of course, this car did come with dual climate control, so you can adjust your temperature for one side, your passenger princess can adjust it for the other side. Other than that, steering wheel position feels good. Of course, you can adjust it. It can come out down below. I think it took me a while to find my seating position. The seats are super comfortable, though I wish they held me a little better when I'm doing mountain driving on steep turns. Other than that, we have a decent sized glove box to fit your service logbook and your gas receipts. Of course, cup holders here. It can't fit anything bigger than a Coke bottle, or yeah, like this. Of course, you can take these out, flip that up, and this just becomes a place to collect life's filth and your dead skin cells. So yeah, that's pretty gross. Coming around here, you have another storage compartment here. This can actually fit a decent amount, and it is like decently deep. So you will be able to fit decent stuff in here. And of course, you got cigarette and ashtray. Yeah, I like this as well. This is just going to collect life's filth, and you're realistically only going to use this to charge your phone. Of course, you got entertainment system. Now, you're not going to expect Apple CarPlay in this, but an interesting option was that this car did come with aux, but no aux port for you to plug your phone into. So to access its aux feature, you're going to have to install an aftermarket aux adapter, which I did here. Yeah. Now the process, no, I'm not going to go full deep into this. Very simple. You just take this off, take that off, get your aux adapter, plug it in, and then you can thread the wire through here. Now moving on, sunglass holder. Up here, you have this for your passenger princess with mega blinding lights. Now, of course, when I first found this, I was in the car with my friends, and it was about like 12 a.m. at night. He opened this, and we were both flash banged. What else? Drivers, of course, you got storage compartment here. You got this top shelf that it's actually very nice. This is a very nice texture. It's not like those sticky leather weird stuff. It's just plastic. This will enough to fit a wallet and a phone, pretty much. Flip that down, flip this up. You have a decently deep storage compartment that can fit CDs, cough drops, and some wet wipes. And more on the driver's side as well, you have these door well pockets to collect life's filth. Yeah. And of course, you got little coin storage compartments here. I don't know if you guys can see. Little coin storage compartments here. You got the door bins are super shallow, so don't expect to fit much in there. Honestly, yeah, you're realistically gonna fit like a sunglass holder and a microfiber towel. Other than that, that's pretty much it for the front. Yeah, let's move to the back. Now, we get to the back. This is in my driving position. Now, I might have overestimated it, so it's not that bad. I am 6'1" to be exact by my height, and of course there's plenty of room for my knees here. My knees aren't touching my driver's seat position. I don't have to do the OnlyFans spread to kind of make myself comfortable. The back as well, very spacious. Again, you got these mix of leather and Alcantara seats. They're super nice. You have this pull down armrest here with cup holders that seems to be different sizes. So yeah, that's a good addition. Of course, you got that up there to put, I don't know, a tissue box, something. Down here, you got these seat pockets, bins, whatever we can call that, you're probably never gonna use. Here, another ashtray. Yeah, gross. Another ashtray to collect light filth. Of course, you don't get door bins, you don't get the little door pockets. The back, it's comfortable. It's not as practical. And of course, there's no aircon back here, so yeah. That's pretty much it for the back. It's pretty nice. Now, following the classic redriven style, as you can see, I am in the trunk. Now, I am 6'1", and yeah, it's pretty spacious. But if you do come out like here, you can see the trunk is massive, massive. Now, of course, I'm using it to store my tools in here, and of course, you can pull these down, and the seats fold not completely flat, but if you do move the seats around, they can fold decently flat. Of course, down here you got your spare wheel, cables, everything. And overall trunk design, 100% very nice. I enjoy it, but of course, I do have a problem here with how high this is. So if you're lifting heavy groceries, it's gonna be hard to, you know, take stuff out of here. But yeah, that's pretty much the trunk. Now, back in the interior again, I forgot to mention this earlier, but of course you got the dashboard. Still, the build quality still holds up. It's not sticky, it's not gross, it just feels nice, aside from the handprints. It feels nice. And of course, other interiors, this plastic part, you're not gonna get scratches. It's not all glossy plastic, it's just regular plastic, so that you're not gonna get scratches. Wear and tear wise, of course, you just got that bolster on the side here that goes squishy. Sometimes your seats, the springs in there start to squeak over time. Your glove box can tend to get jammed sometimes as well. And especially this part here, high traffic areas, it can super easily get dirty, get scratches all over, since it's so low. So yeah, other than that, interior build quality still holds up very, very well and very, very nice. But again, it's gonna vary from car to car. It's gonna vary depending on the owner. Now, my final thoughts after 6 months. Personally, I think that this car is a must get for someone who wants fun, practicality, reliability, and just a lightweight, easy to work on project weekend car, even if you're looking for that. It's a great chassis to build off, and it's super simple to work on. Now, price-wise, here in Australia, specifically Victoria, from the past few months, I did notice the price kind of creep up a little bit. At the low end, you expect on lowest $3,000, $4,000. That will get you a high kilometer car with loads of issues, probably paint fade, and yeah, loads of issues that need working on. And if you flip that to the other end, if you want something like mine that is somewhat mint condition interior, exterior still holds up well with no paint fade and stuff, especially with this rare desirable trim as well, and the low kilometers at 154,000 kilometers, you'll be looking at roughly $9,000 to $10,000, or yeah, $9,000 to $10,000 with regards to this specific case. Now, of course, it can vary in between. You know, you could find this exact same trim but with high kilometers going for cheaper. So yeah, but like I said, do your research before you buy this car, I will recommend it. And yeah, it's a great overall car, and if you're really looking for something to have fun with but still can daily drive it, definitely go for it. But yeah, if you do enjoy these videos, please like and subscribe. It shows massive support to me, and of course the car itself. You know, showing your support allows me to push out more videos and do more stuff that you guys would like to see with the car, and also just preventing it from getting sold by my dad and in the hands of another P-plater who's gonna rice it out and do shitty mods on it. But yeah, definitely get the car. So do a bunch of shitty mods and a bunch of shitty